every day it gets a little bit colder, and I know things are bad all over. My hell is empty and the devil is loose. God loves a rich man, ain't that the gospel truth? And I'd ask Jesus to help me along, but tell me what good's praying ever done. And it's just my luck, and it's just as well. Life ain't nothing but a slow kill. Tell me, darling, when is it over? Have you found somebody new? Are you really gonna leave me? Or is our time together through? Don't you know I'll take a lifetime just to prove my worth to you? Tell me, darling, is it over?
Kristina Murray,
Hi.
look what we have here today to start this short week. I love it.
Yeah.
Look
How
at-
are
look
you?
at that. Look at that compound that you're in, that creative like cave.
This is
I
my,
love it.
Yeah, this is my home. I've been living here for almost a year, and it's the first time I've ever lived alone. So it's
Amazing.
really it's great because it's exactly what it is. It's like this is my creative room. I write in here, I paint, I watch TV, I nap, I tend to my plants and stuff. So yeah.
It's amazing. And for the audio audience, like what we're looking at is a room with a beautiful couch, guitars, colors, art, great vinyl, the
Yeah.
whole 9 yards. You can just almost.
You can't see it too well, but I have a Don Williams poster and a Loretta Lynn poster, and I've got an Emmylou and Dolly poster and some art and stuff.
And that is your secret sauce, Kristina Murray.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it. Well, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course, of course. So, Kristina, we saw you a few weeks ago at Third and Lindsley, and I don't know if you could feel the energy in the air because you were like on stage. But when you started singing, you could hear a pin drop, Kristina.
Oh, cool.
It was like a really special moment, and like it was like the first show, kind of like with things kind of normal, quote unquote. And I think it was during the Great Unknown, maybe, where the servers just like stood frozen. I remember.
I love to hear that. That's great.
Nothing to see here, y'all, just a fool standing in the rain. And nobody paid you to do it. Wouldn't you sing?
Yeah. Like I think I remember clearly the moment people were like, "We're not serving drinks for 20 seconds." Thank you. It was amazing.
That's always, I think, what you want to happen when you're playing your original music, that people just stop and take note, and so that's really great to hear for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely, Kristina. So I want to chat about your songs, of course, and the wonderful Southern Ambrosia from 2018 and the new songs from last year. But first, let me talk about your early life, Kristina, because it is so fascinating, dude. It is like out of a novel. You're such a kindred spirit. I mean, you've previously said that you consider yourself more of a words person.
Okay.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
You love words, you loved reading, you love writing. So when you were growing up in Georgia, Kristina, was this a powerful thing in your childhood? I mean, escaping into words, like what books marked you as a young girl?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I didn't really come around to reading so much until I got to be older. My whole family was readers, though. My mom, my sister, my dad, they were all big readers. And, my mom always read to me at night. And my dad, he would just make up stories and tell them. He had this one story, epic novel story called Bloody Bones and Raw Guts that he used to tell. Is like a pirate adventure. He would just like, I think, make it up off the top of his head. But anyway, so yeah, stories are really important, but I didn't really get into reading until probably I was out of college. I didn't really like to read for pleasure because I had to read books in high school that I hated, like Catcher in the Rye, and
Right.
but then when I discovered, oh, you can read whatever the hell you want as an adult person, and you can read nonfiction, and you can read fiction, and you can read articles, and you can read long form articles and short stories, and that's kind of when it all opened up, is when I got to be an independent young adult. But as a child, I was really more drawn to story and song, I mean, just music in general, I think. But yeah, the lyric and the melody coming together, I think,
Yeah.
I've kind of always been drawn to that, and particularly with country music. I got into country music probably about like fifth or sixth grade, and it was kind of over for me at that point. So
Yeah, totally. And like pivoting to that, I mean, of course, Patsy Cline, Loretta came into your life early, but your mom as well, she had like a bunch of Emmylou Harris, Jesse Coulter, and Joni Mitchell in her life, right?
yes,
Was
yes,
that
the
was that a
three.
powerful way for you to connect with your mom?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because I think that other than Joni, who I think has a pretty accessible voice, for younger people, because it's so sing-songy and so angelic and beautiful. I feel like with Emmylou and Jesse Coulter, it took me a while also to get into their music too, because I think it's kind of more of an acquired taste, and I think just
Yeah.
country music in general is can be more of an acquired taste. But yeah, she would just, she would cook to some of those records and some of the greatest hits, CDs and stuff. And so it was kind of always just on in the ether in the background. I think it kind of soaked into the way that I sing, I hope, and the kind of music that I like. So yeah, yeah.
I love it. Makes total sense. As you start piecing it together, it's like that's why Kristina Murray sounds the way she does. It's
Yeah.
fantastic. I dig it. So tell us a little bit about these creatively crucial summers that you had working summer camps in northern Georgia, right? Like,
Yeah.
because you listen to Hank Williams in these camps and Waylon Jennings and bluegrass.
Yeah.
It just seems like you were like the coolest girl, like way ahead of the curve, Kristina.
Yeah. Well, I was hanging out with some cool people too. It wasn't just me, But yeah, I worked at a summer camp in North Georgia, and um, that's where I got into, bluegrass music specifically, because it's so prevalent in that part of, Appalachian part of the South. So that's where I kind of got introduced to that. I was a few other people that I was working with were also musicians, and we had to sing camp songs. So it's kind of where I learned to play guitar and how I learned to sing harmony. That's kind of all. I mean, it's a lot due to that. We had this really big screened in porch where when we weren't working, when we weren't hanging out with the kids, we would hang out there like in our off time, and it was just so beautiful and really, really magical and peaceful kind of place. It overlooked the side of a sloping mountain, and it was really green, and we always just would have mostly country music on. There's a lot of rock and roll too, Talking Heads and Allman
Yeah.
Brothers and Grateful Dead and stuff. But yeah, a lot of Hank Jr., a lot of Waylon, so I kind of Johnny Paycheck, a lot of those songs kind of made their way into my psyche, like, right around when I was in college too. So, I think I was kind of ripe for that. And again, learning bluegrass, you know, just the top 40, all the typical bluegrass songs. I kind of learned how to play them and sing them there. Lots of gospel bluegrass too, since it was a Christian summer camp.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, so I think that certainly has a huge. I always kind of forget that because I don't ever go back there, and I don't really see too many of those people anymore. But for a good chunk of my life, especially in my late teens, early 20s, mid 20s,
Right.
that was a huge part of my life. And
Love that.
yeah, I'm really glad you brought that up. That brings back a lot of great memories.
Yeah, that's great. Absolutely, Christina. And hearing you talk about all these singer-songwriters, whether it's Waylon Jennings, Emmylou Harris, there is a theme here that I find that life is not rainbows and sunshines all the time. That's part of like what they sing about, and that life sometimes requires resilience. It requires grit. I mean, you've spoken previously about how you had spots in your childhood where maybe like it was a little bit tough financially for your parents or whatever.
Sure.
Did these musical influences, like, seeing all these heroes, seeing all these people, kind of like gave you thick skin and matured you like early on, that like, man, let's go kick some ass, because it's not gonna be handed, it's gonna be earned.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's something I still think a lot about, and honestly struggle with, still to this day. But I mean, the origins of so much country music is, the early pioneers of this genre, and even legends like Loretta and Dolly. I mean, and there's obviously modern legends as well, but just kind of really came from nothing. And I'm not saying that about my family. Like,
Of
we
course, of course,
we
of course.
we had a good life, a good
Love, yeah, absolutely.
but yeah, we also had some pretty hard times, but anyway, so I think when I think about that, and I just think about the early, kind of the early days of country music, and how like that legacy just kind of wove itself into, a big part of what country music's about. It's just something that I can't shy away from, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's embarrassing to admit, but like, I still struggle financially, and I'm not a very, lucrative artist.
Oh,
I don't have like millions of streams on Spotify. I don't have like sync deals. I'd love to get all those things. I'd love to write a number one
yet.
hit and never have to work again. But I've been working since I've been 12 years old. So, it's just yeah, that certainly weaves its way into the music that I write, and music that I'm drawn to. I think, country and blues, specifically, and then rock and
Yeah,
roll, the two together make rock and roll. But
I know,
I
I
think
know.
that element certainly is in there, and it draws me to the music. It's
Beautiful.
relatable to me.
Oh, totally,
It's not
totally.
very relatable to me if, like, yeah, your parents like bought you a brand new car in high school or something. I'm not trying to shit on people that happens to, but it's just a different reality. It's a different reality.
But it's great because your music is so great. Like, I know where you're headed, and like when you do, you're gonna have like this context, and you're gonna have this perspective, and it's gonna serve you
Yeah.
great. It's gonna be great. Okay, I want to ask about your songwriting in just a second,
Yeah.
Kristina, but I have to touch on Colorado really quickly, because
Okay. Yeah.
another part of your great journey is, you had this internship in Boulder. Just what was like the greatest artistic tool that you learned in Colorado that you carry to this day here in Nashville today?
Yeah. Oh man, that's a great question. I would probably say kind of two things: community, and then just learning how to play my instruments. So, I mean, Colorado was a great place to kind of, I guess, fertilize like my desire to play music publicly and with people, because it's a pretty welcoming community as far as like the bluegrass and then country music community is. I
Sure.
mean, people are willing to sing with you and help you learn how to play and help you figure out, what key is going to be good for you, and even teach you some chords on the upright bass or something. So I think the community aspect really helped, and then that kind of encouraged me. People would be like, man, you're a great singer, you should sit in with us, our band, or if you learn the harmony parts, you can play this gig with us, or things like that. Like, you should start your own band. I mean, really encouraging that in that kind of a way. And then, because I was surrounded by so many great musicians out there, and I wanted to be able to, like, lead jam circles and call the song, and then eventually like get on stage and command my own band. I knew that I had to be good at both of my instruments, right? So both singing and playing guitar. I couldn't get up there and be like, I don't know what key it's in. I don't know
Yeah.
what the kickoff is. I don't know what the break is, because then people were like, get out of here. You ain't shit. So I very early on learned, like, I got to know everything about my set list, and I got to learn 4 hours worth, because, playing out there, if you're playing a bar gig, you're playing for 3 or 4 hours. It's not like in Nashville where you play your 10 best songs and you get off stage and you're good to go. It's
Right,
like,
right.
you got to know a lot of country music or bluegrass, whatever it is. And you got to be able to stand up there and play it for a long time. So that aspect of, like, knowing your instruments, knowing where you come from as far as like the history of the genre that you're presenting. It was a very good a place to learn all that was in Colorado. But eventually I just
Fascinating.
kind of hit the ceiling of, like, I want to play original music. I want to write with more writers, and that's
Yeah.
kind of what precipitated the move back south.
Yeah. So did you always kind of like knew you were gonna end up in Nashville, or was there a moment, like a trip maybe you did here and you're like, oh my God, I have to be here? Like, was there like, what was it?
I mean, I think I always knew I would come back south, not necessarily going back to Atlanta. I for a while was like, maybe I'll move to Austin. In 2011, I went to Austin for the first time and I was like, oh, maybe I want to live here. So it was kind of like Nashville, Austin, Nashville, Austin. And I love Austin. I, maybe would love to live there someday if it wasn't so damn hot. But like, I think what drew me so much to Nashville is the songwriting element. There was more happening here than kind of what I perceived was happening in Austin, which seemed more like country red dirt, you
Yeah,
play in Texas only kind of thing. I mean, it's not like necessarily like that, but it kind of seemed like that to me at first, but Nashville was like, you drive 6 hours in any direction, you're going to hit one or two cities. People are co-writing here. There's a whole young kind of cohort of younger songwriters that are getting into more of the traditional country music sounds, or like the country music of the 70s and 80s, more so than commercial country that's played on the radio. So that kind of,
totally.
I for about a year thought about the move, and then finally in 2014 did it. But that same year, 2014, in Colorado, it snowed on Mother's Day, May, like middle of May, and I was like, I have to get out of here now. It's May. It's not supposed to snow anymore. So yeah,
Right, that was a signal.
yeah, it was kind of like, get out.
Yeah, that was the universe saying, all right, Kristina, no more bluffing, just get out. Yeah,
Yeah.
love it. Oh my God, Kristina. And you touched on your songwriting. It's great. I mean, listening to stuff like Lovers and Liars, the Great Unknown, like whatever, you name it. I mean,
Yeah.
it got me thinking, like when you have to, like when you're working, because people think being a musician is all fun and you're playing and you're a rock star, but it's work, the actual work of writing lyrics and writing music.
Yeah.
Do you go somewhere like to your room where you are right now, or like to a designated office, or like do you tell your people, okay, I'm off the grid from 9 to 5,
Yeah.
or is it like when the mood hits you, Kristina?
Oh man, I think I've had more success with when the mood hits. Although I try to be disciplined and be like, oh, this day I'm gonna write. I have one day off a week from my day job, so during the work week I'm not at my day job, and so I try to be like, okay, Fridays I'm gonna sit down and write. But I typically end up running errands, doing laundry, clean my house. So I think I more often will just be like, I've got an idea for a song, or I have a melody kind of in mind, and then I just sit down and find half an hour and just like scribble out kind of the bones or the outline of a chorus or verse or first chorus or what have you. I mean, it happened to me yesterday. Yesterday was Memorial Day. I was supposed to go to like a barbecue, cookout, hangout thing. And it was starting at 3, and then or like 3:30ish, and then I kind of just was like humming this song, and I was like, oh, I really should write some of that down. And then before I knew it was like 5:30, and I was 2 hours late, and I was like, oh man. But it's a good song. I really like it. I'm really glad that I kind of took the inspiration, or took the muse when she
That's a
down.
cool story. That's a
Yeah.
cool story. I love that. I love that, Kristina. So in other words, you're trying to get the discipline of it. Like whether it's even if it's not a good lyric or not, you're trying to, like going to the gym. You're trying to just get that discipline down.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough. I mean, some weeks I'll be really good about journaling every day, because I think that kind of helped kickstart the creativity, or even just like kind of pounding away at some songs that I maybe put on the shelf, or revisiting them, or reworking, songs for the new record that I've been working on for a while, and just kind of revisiting them. And so some weeks I'm pretty good about doing that, and then 2 weeks go by and I'm like, oh my gosh, I've like barely played an original song, or I barely like messed around on the guitar or whatever.
I
Yeah.
love it. I love it, Kristina. Well, look, you're being so generous with your time. There's a rumor here that you may perform a song for us. Is that true?
Yeah,
that
let me grab my guitar.
I'd
I think
love
I'm
to.
just gonna play Great Unknown, because it's the one that I messed around with
Hell
before.
yeah. Whatever you want to play. That's awesome. We're blessed. Thank you. Look at that guitar. Look at that beautiful guitar.
Thank you.
Do you name your guitars, Kristina?
Yeah, this one is called Little Sister.
Little
There's
sister.
there's a an Elvis song called Little Sister, Don't You? Da-ba-da-da-da-da. It's awesome. So anyway, it's named after that. I was a really huge Elvis Presley fan when I was a young child. So it's
Of
kind of a
course.
nod to that a little bit.
Dig it, dig it, dig it.
All right, let's see if we can not fuck this up too bad. All right, it's Great Unknown. Once I wanted the dream house, Buena Vista's way up on the hill. Now I'm living check to check, just feeling lucky to be paying bills. You know, I dreamed about a perfect love, but now I got a man I get along with. He sees the world the way I do, without the need to go conquering it. Took this long to understand what truly pleases me. Each little thing, and taking it easy. Sunday morning, sun shining through, begging me to take the day in slow. A cup of coffee and my baby's arms, a little Keith and a little smoke. Here we are spinning round and round, flying through the great unknown. I just wanna have a good time until it's time to me moving on. Took this long to understand what truly pleases me. It's a little thing, and taking it easy.
Kristina, wow. That's a feeling. What a song. What an
Yeah,
artist.
thanks.
What a, man, loved having you, dude. Thank you so
Yeah.
much, Kristina.
Oh
That
yeah,
was
I
epic.
appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Oh no, that was absolutely fantastic. Just honored to be in the Nashville with you, and we can't wait to see what the future holds for you, man.
Yes, I'll see you at a show sometime.
Absolutely, Kristina. Take care.
Take care. Bye.